This episode of the SubPar Poddy C is brought to you by Gamers Ready. That's right. If you want to be fucking sick at Rocket League through some coaching from some pros, including like Yukio and Verge from Dignitas, what a team they are, head over to gamersready.com. That's GAMERSRDY.com to get all of your coaching needs met. Hello everybody, it has been 2 weeks since the last SubPar Poddy C, which is, by the way, officially,
unofficially,
the best podcast on the internet. We did actually receive some DMs and been asked on stream, where's the podcast? Oh, where's the Poddy C? Oh, I love the Poddy C. And the reason why we skipped a week is because Cole was on holiday with like friends and stuff.
Girlfriends, friends.
Yeah, well, wow, hang on, I was not going to let you talk about your holiday. Are they not your friends?
No, they are my friends. I'm actually. I was treated like a lovely person. They were lovely, the lot of them. Yeah, it was me and Linnea. I went to Centre Parks. You ever been to Centre Parks?
I fucking love Centre Parks. As of like, I don't know, 10 years ago, before they built new ones, I'd been to every Centre Parks in the UK.
Whoa!
I don't mean to brag.
Whoa!
I don't mean to brag. Longleat, by the way, is my favourite. I think it's Longleat anyway.
Is it better than Elvedon?
And Elvedon, that might be the one that I love. I can't remember the names of them anymore. But yeah, Elvedon's fucking sick.
I mean, I've actually been there thrice now to Elvedon.
Wow.
And Elvedon is the one that has the plunge pool. So it's got like a fucking
is
ice
that the
cold...
only one that's got the plunge pool?
I like to think so, because I've been there thrice.
Well, Cole.
Yes.
Tell you what, mate. People don't give a shit about your holiday and how much you both love Centre Parks, even though I definitely do when I love Centre Parks.
We'll chat later, it's fine.
Yeah, that's fair. We are going to be talking all about, after being nearly 8 minutes in, we're talking all about RLCS. So, like I said, people are DMing, people are asking, guys, where's the podcast? And by the way, thank you everybody who did ask. It means a lot that people give a shit about our content. It's lovely. And RLCS now 2 weeks in. And we will be covering week 1 and week 2 slightly more abridged than usual. There'll be a little bit more sort of skipped over some bits and bobs, maybe just sort of rank some series. But otherwise, let's cover week 1 and week 2. Cole, my first question to you, my friend, is how do you like RLCS so far, mate?
I can't believe, I didn't realise how much I missed competitive Rocket League. It's like, it is something I look forward to throughout the week. I'm like, oh my god, 6 more days to the RLCS, you know? And then it arrives and Leaf does his intro and it's like, right, now it's fucking getting real.
Yeah.
For reasons I'll get into later, I'm loving this season so far. I am so into it.
I feel like it feels different to previous seasons as well. Like, I think it was season 6 where I was watching it. And I didn't give a shit. Like, I think I literally turned off, like, about 2/3 through the broadcast. I thought, this is the same. Nothing felt like it had changed. But I think we've got a little bit more of a difference this time. Because, firstly, we have more teams. And also, it seems like there's a bit more freedom on and off the pitch. It seems like players are able to fuck about a bit more. There's a little bit more personality coming through on Twitter. So you're like, oh, shit, Wrestle's called Garrett and Nonce. Let's see what happens. Like, stuff like that, I absolutely adore. It seems like the desk guys are having a really good time. Rest in peace, Lawler, of course. That's a massive shame. But yeah, I feel like it feels a little bit more free as a season as a whole. We also have longer league play as well. And for people who don't know, the issues that happened in week 1, where basically it didn't happen, lol, they have fixed that by doing... by basically having week 6 to be brought back. So it goes 1 to 5, completely normal. That's all okay. So week 5 is on March 7th, which is at least for NA. That's on a Saturday. And then on the Monday, which is March 9th, it is a big, bad bumper day of Rocket League, where it's 10 series over the day on Monday, starting with 5 EU games at 4 p.m. GMT. And then there's a 1 hour and 40-minute break if it all goes perfectly. Oh, no, it'll be about an hour break, actually, because that's the time the last series starts. So an hour break, and then 5 NA games starting at 9 p.m. GMT. That is about double. It is exactly double your standard day of RLCS.
And bear in mind that most people say that the standard day of RLCS is too long, because it's about 5 hours. 5 series will normally take you about 5 hours' time.
Yep.
This is unbelievable scenes. I hope that people, like, have the ability to watch as much of it as possible. It's still 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away. So hopefully there'll be a few people out there that can take a day off work for this.
Yeah.
Settle down with a cuppa, get to Twitter, type in hashtag RLCS9 and just follow what everyone's saying. Get on the subreddit, get into discord.gg/subpar in HD, and just watch it with loved ones and people online that you adore, because it's just going to be so much fun. And probably 3 series in, knowing me, I'll be like, bored of this now.
Yeah, it's a little bit much. But you get to like fucking Reciprocity beating AS Monaco. You're like, no, well, that's me done.
Yeah,
That's
a little bit. But I think until that moment, until I get bored, I'm going to be looking forward to that, counting down to that day like it's my Christmas.
It's going to be sick. I'm so excited.
It is. You mentioned 2 of the reasons why I think I'm loving this series so much. One of them is the extra number of teams. I was very public.
Sorry.
Go on.
I apologise for interrupting. I pulled 2 teams out of my arse that might be playing each other on that day. I genuinely have not looked at the EU side of things yet. Reciprocity are playing AS Monaco, and it's the 4th series in. So it's after the 3rd. It is exactly that series with those teams. I have not seen these yet. What a fucking get.
Are you looking at a webpage, or are you just looking at loads of green letters on a black background, just slowly filtering down, saying, oh, all I see is a woman in a red dress?
Oh my God. Sorry.
That's good. That's good stuff.
What a fucking... Do you reckon that was kept in my mind when I looked at the times earlier?
I think so. Yeah, I hope so. I hope that, like, subconsciously somewhere, you saw a flash of Reciprocity versus AS Monaco, and that is just locked in, and it's come out in such a beautiful way. That's good. Yeah, what I was going to say was that the reason I love this series, this season so much, is that 10 team leagues, you can actually see the difference between the best teams and the worst teams. Last season, I didn't like too much. I know everyone loved it. Oh, Cloud9 and G2, blah, blah, blah. To me, it felt too random, and I couldn't get behind it. I was watching a series, and I was like, either team could win. They might as well just flip a coin.
Anyone can win on the day.
Exactly, it was classic anyone can win on the day edge. But this season, NRG are better than Flight.
Yes.
You can see it in the way they're playing. Flight are defending for 5 minutes at a time. Now, maybe that's not quite as beautiful to look at on a game-by-game basis, but to me, the beauty of it is that NRG have elevated, and then Flight are going to have to go back and look and go, what is it they were doing? Why were they better? So that's one reason I like it.
Yeah.
Another reason is, as you mentioned, the freedom from the desk. I feel like they're having a lot of fun with it. It is a huge shame Lawler's not there, because he always wanted conversational casting.
I know.
And we're finally moving towards that, particularly in NA, as I imagine the RLCS crew are sort of slightly more comfortable with NA, which is natural, it's their region. I've noticed Jamespot and Jorby in particular, they had one series at the weekend that was just completely conversational all the way through, and it was brilliant. It was so good. So James and Jorby, if you're listening, keep that up. I can promise you that everyone we've ever spoken to has said that they want conversational casting. It's the future. Well, I mean, it's brilliant.
Like we said, like with the Lawler podcast, he was saying he's been wanting that for a very long time, and the people want it as well. It also just lets people... We don't need to go too much into conversational casting, because we've said how much we love it, but it just gives the casters the opportunity to actually say what they know more. It's not just saying sound bites and trying to get the throws to each other really sort of artificially. It's actual conversation about games. That's why people are viewing parties, because that's a conversation. Why not have that on the official broadcast? Let's look at the Week 1 and Week 2 matches for each team. Now, we're going to be basically looking at each of the teams and grading them from A... This is English grading, by the way. A star to U. So A star, big, bad, best of the top, good crumbs on a crumpet there, good. Down to U, which in the UK literally means ungraded. It was so shit that the exam board don't even bother giving you a grade. They're like, no, it was too bad. So the first team we're going to be looking at, purely alphabetically, of course, is Cloud9.
Yeah, so I just want to say why we're doing it alphabetically for a start. It's because if we went from top of the league to bottom of the league, we'd just be getting slowly more negative, or the other way around. We'd be starting negative and getting positive. So if we do it alphabetically, it's going to be all over the place of how we're reviewing these teams.
Let's dip through them then. So Cloud9, they are currently in 10th place. So we are starting at the bottom as well.
Coincidentally, yeah.
Coincidentally. They are currently 0-2 after losing to E United and then Rogue. Now, Cloud9, I backed them in the pre-season by saying that they've got, I still feel, a fantastic org behind them that would be focusing a lot on the mental side of things, because that seems to be a massive struggle at the moment. I think Squishy, for me, is the best player on that team so far. In week 1, Gimmick looked out of place completely, as did Torment. And then in week 2, Gimmick started to pull himself back up, and Torment still seems to be a little bit lost in some of those games. Now, Cole, you've actually got Gimmick on your fantasy team at the moment.
Yeah, so I've been making jokes in our Discord basically saying he's fantasy royalty, he's so good. Because statistically, he's doing fine. He's not doing amazing, he's not popping off. But of the 3 of them, he's the one who's getting the most goals and the most assists, right? He still looks awkward.
He does.
And the type of mechanical plays that he could get away with in seasons past aren't working. He's not standing out as a mechanical player. And that's not something I ever thought I'd say about bloody Gimmick.
Yeah.
You're definitely right to praise Squishy. He's been really
done really
good.
well. Yeah. He reminds me of when G2 were having a bit of a bad season last time. And everyone seemed to be blaming everybody on that roster. But I always thought that Rizzo was one of the more solid people on there. It seems to be that kind of case at the moment with Squishy as well, where it's sort of a content creator who's also sick at Rocket League, and they seem to still be in the upper echelon of their team at least. I think if we were to rate them, just because we have a few teams to get through, I would say at the moment, out of the NA RLCS, we're probably looking at them being an E. I think they're an E team.
I think that
Room for
Cloud9...
improvement.
Yeah, there definitely is. U implies that they cannot get better. They've reached their peak and it's shit. And that's definitely not the case, because at the moment, Season 7 Cloud9 would beat Season 9 Cloud9 in a best of 5. So I think E is completely fair. They look lost at the moment. It looks like they don't like playing with one another. It can be fixed. I know that Fireburner is their coach, and he's definitely got his work cut out for him. Because
Yes, 100%.
since he's gone there, it's not been good.
All right, next team, E United. Now, they're currently in 6th, and they are currently 1-1 as well. Now, they got their 3-0 sweep versus Cloud9, and then they got 3-0'd by Ghost Gaming in week 2. I, unfortunately, missed basically all of NA this weekend because it was my birthday, and so I was busy a lot seeing people, which was fun, instead of watching RLCS. Thanks.
What do you want for your birthday retroactively from our listeners?
Can I have a like and a subscribe?
There you go, guys. That's what he wants. He wants Twitch subs. Use your Twitch Prime
on
SubPar,
YouTube.
but in HD.
YouTube. I don't need more money. What do you get the man who's got 500 subs? Not more subs.
Jesus Christ. That is
fair
enough. Right, you are
there.
bad at this. You peaked.
So, E United, they had a little bit of a bang in week 1, and then they started to go downhill in week 2. How do you feel they're going to end up the season, Cole?
I think they're sort of a mid-table team at the moment. None of them are really standing out. They're your classic trio of Rocket Leaguers rotating about and getting some goals. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like, it's your classic style of rotation. They almost as well got perfect swept by Ghost in week 2.
Oh my God.
They were 2 games down, and they were 2-0 down in game 3. And the second goal they conceded, I think one of them missed a sitter, go down the other end, and one of them scores an own goal. And it looked like they were tilted out of the game. This is all in about 50 seconds. So to be fair to them, they did well to rally and get themselves only a 3-2 loss. But to be honest, against Ghost, they were nowhere near the standard required. So I think that... Go on.
Are they the kind of team that we saw at Worlds, would you say?
No.
Would you say that they'd get there again this season at all?
No, I don't think so. They don't look like they're having as much fun this season. They've lost the shock factor, which they had when they were just birds and the bees. They can't do any damage against us. You know, now they've got an org attached to them. They've got some history. I think their opponents are taking them more seriously. And at the moment, it doesn't really look like they've got the quality to dig themselves out of that. To me, I'd give them a C.
A C. Okay, you're going C. I honestly didn't see much of their gameplay in week 2. I managed to catch like a couple of minutes of the PKG2 game and sort of kept dipping in and out whenever I nipped off the loo to watch some RLCS. I'll join you on the C. That seems like a nice middle ground. They are 1-1 ultimately, beating Cloud9. We'll see how impressive that is by the end of the season. I remember in Season 8, everyone was shocked when like PK beat Cloud9. And then everyone just beat Cloud9, so it sort of lost its meaning a little bit. But yeah, I'll join you on the C. It's a mid-table team. I think they'll do well. Do you think they're going to fill in that evil geniuses / previous PSG role of just being like, yeah, they'll make it to LAN usually, but then they'll get like 2-0 and just sort of head home?
I don't think that they'll make LAN currently. They're not going to be in the relegation dogfight. But I haven't seen enough from them to say that they're going to be, rocking out wherever the LAN ends up. No, do we know where the LAN is? It's in Thingy,
Dallas.
America. Dallas, yeah, there.
Texas here. So,
yeah, them.
double C's. We got a nice pair of C's on our skull.
Mm-hmm. Doing all right there.
Doing all right with them. Okay, so Cole, you reckon they're going to end up around the mid-table, in the 7th spot where they're just going to be chilling out. No promotion relegation for them. No regional championships for them either.
Yeah, which is harsh. I mean, it could have just been a poor week against Ghost, but I can only say from what I've seen so far.
Cool. All right, that's double C's. Flight. They are currently 9th. There's actually no reason for them to be 9th. They could be 9th or 10th. They're exactly the same as Cloud9 right now. They are 0-2. They ended up losing to PK in week 1 after going 3-2 against them. And then they lost against NRG by going 0-3 against them. 2 massive games in their first season of the RLCS. And I looked at some of the clips from this weekend for Flight's game against NRG. And it didn't seem like at any point the ball was really on the other half of the pitch. It was just them trying to hold up and try and get a counter-attack goal. But that's just never going to happen when you have the most positionally perfect player, Turbo Pulsar, in the game.
Yeah, it's tough to really judge them, Flight, because to be fair, by all accounts, they should have beaten Pittsburgh Knights in week 1. If they do that, because they were 2 goals up with like a minute left or something like that.
Yeah.
If they go on to win that game, they're 1-1, and everyone's saying, wow, they've had a solid start. They got smashed by NRG. Fair enough. But they've beaten Pittsburgh Knights, who are one of the genuine teams out there. The fact that they've lost to Pittsburgh Knights makes it a lot tougher for them. But they've certainly shown that they're able to give anyone a game apart from those at the very top. I'm hoping that they would have taken that game against NRG and said, look, we can't do, even against the top teams. You might lose to NRG 95% of the time if you try hard and try and beat them for pace, but you'll lose them 100% of the time if you try and defend against them for 5 minutes
agreed.
each game.
It wasn't the right shout. They didn't have the right strategy. I think that might have worked against a team like Pittsburgh Knights, which it started to, then they got a little bit frazzled because they just love that constant offense and you can easily just sort of catch them out of the back. Same with also when they play G2, it might work. They might be able to hold up and then just get some strong counters. I think NRG is just the wrong team to try that against. I don't necessarily know if I've got much more confidence in them than I do in Cloud9. I think Cloud9 have a higher ceiling that they can reach compared to Flight. So, what's below an E? An F, I suppose.
Bear in mind that you have to review them for what they are. They're not trying to make it to LAN. They're trying to probably survive this season and then push on next season.
So far, I'm thinking E or F for them. Because if we've put Cloud9 at an E, and this, what's it called when you grade people off a curve? And you have, like, the highest score is 100%, but they only got, like, something. No, it's like a thing they do in American high schools and stuff. And not shoot each other.
GPA.
Maybe GPA. I don't know. It's something where it's like proportional grading. So somebody gets, like, 93% of the questions correct, and then that becomes the 100% that you then mark everybody else off.
Oh, shit, okay. Right,
so... we're trying to get sort of like the benchmark, I suppose, with Cloud9 and E United. I'll put them at an E, along with Cloud9. I think they're going to be in the relegation scrap. I don't see them getting much further against some of the other teams in the RLCS. I think they managed to get 3-2 against PK purely because they caught them when they were cold. PK came out and showed why they are one of the best teams in North America right now, and I don't think Flight even really held a candle to it when it ended up being PK's game.
So I'm going to disagree with you here quite strongly. I think Pittsburgh Knights seem to be without miss on the way down at the moment, so they are severely weakened this season compared to last. And I think that Flight, you've got to rate them for who they are. They are a team that's coming up against NRG. They did what they could against NRG. It was bad against Pittsburgh Knights. They really should have beaten them, and it is a worry that they then didn't get over the finish line. But I think E is way too low, so I will go with a C again for Flight.
C.
I think so, because all they're trying to do is survive.
United?
Relatively speaking, yeah.
Should we go with minuses and pluses? Like a C minus or whatever.
Maybe C minus, because E United came up as well.
What do you want to give E United for their? Are they a strong?
No,
C?
they stick with a C. They stick with a C.
Everyone else is a C. Okay, so Flight just a touch below. It's a tiny little bit lower. Okay, that's fair. Okay, G2 right now they're first, baby. They're chilling out on top of that table. They are 2-0. And in the 2 series they have played, they have only lost a single game. Now, they have played against Rogue, which was a 3-0 in Week 1. Then in Week 2, they played against Pittsburgh Knights, which was a 3-1. Their single match that they have lost, and it was the first one, actually, against PK as well. I think they are looking... They're looking as strong as they did in Season 7, where they ended up getting to the Grand Finals, where they ended up... Whatever hole they seem to have found themselves in Season 8 that really just fucking knocked them for 6, I think they've managed to get themselves out of it the way that I thought Cloud9 would. Maybe G2 are one of those orgs where they're focused more on that side of things. I'm not too sure. But I'm very, very happy with what I've seen from G2 thus far. I think it's an absolute statement being able to 3-0 Rogue, who do look pretty good at the moment. And also then able to 3-1 Pittsburgh Knights even after losing that first game. They were all relatively close games, not like they smashed any of them. They were within like 1 or 2 goals each time. But G2 are looking to be absolutely solid all round. It doesn't look like you've got only one person being the leader of the pack and just saying, yep, I'm going to be carrying this. It's not a classic J-Naps carry where he just pops off and goes crazy. It seems like everybody is really happy to fill that role. Almost like with how Dignitas is being at the moment over in EU, where everyone is filling all the roles that are needed, and it doesn't seem like anybody's just trying to hog the limelight. So G2 for me, I think they're a very, very strong first. I'd have to put them at an A, I feel.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you at all. G2 look fucking phenomenal at the moment. Every single player looks like they're playing at the top of their game. The balance is there. There's no J-Naps carry. Chicago isn't their only goal scorer. You know, Rizzo was banging in the goals the other day, which Gibbs weirdly predicted. I don't know how he pulled that out of his fucking nostrils, but fair play.
His diseased throat.
Yeah. G2, I've got to say, based on what I've seen, they've come up against tougher teams than NRG, to be fair, and they've performed valiantly in both of them. I think that G2 look like the best team in NA so far this season, and to give them anything other than an A would be very, very harsh. So A for them.
Yeah, I think an
Pushing
A-star. I think an A-star could be applied to them, to be fair, but I feel like that if they hadn't lost a game, I think they'd get the A-star. If they went 3-0,
yeah, A-star has to be flawless. A-star has to be the best thing you've ever fucking seen.
Exactly. And maybe stronger wins as well. Like I was saying, they had like a 2-0, a 3-0, and a 3-2 overtime, and then a 0-2, 0-3, 2-1, 2-1. So they're very strong, but yeah, an A-star has to be fucking a pippity-pippity-toppity. They have to be fat nutty.
To be fair, though, their game against Pittsburgh Knights, the goals don't really do it justice. Pittsburgh Knights couldn't escape their half.
Yeah,
G2 were fucking swarming the bastards. Yeah. It was crazy.
I mean, that's what you need to do. Like that's them changing their playstyle to play against a team that would otherwise want to swarm them. Outswarm the swarmers. PK obviously they are looking a little bit weaker, like you said before. I don't necessarily know if their roster change was necessarily a good idea, getting AJ, but we'll see how that ends up being. Yeah, we'll get to that later. Okay, Ghost are currently third in NA. They are 1-1, and they have... they've got one of the better roster moves at the moment. They picked up Mist after he was left/kicked Pittsburgh Knights. I think it was a little bit of both as they were trying out new thirds, and he was like, well, I'll just go with Ghost lol. And they're like, sorry, what? So he's now with Ghost, and they are doing absolutely phenomenally. They have gone thus far. They lost in Week 1 to Space Station Gaming 3-1, and then in Week 2 they beat E United 3-0. They're in third place, obviously quite early on. A lot of people are in that mid-table, that sort of upper mid-table position at the moment. I think they earn themselves a a B minus. I think it's a B minus C plus type situation. I feel they had one of the stronger roster moves of this season, and I've never been particularly impressed by Ghost before, and I think now I'm starting to be. So at least I've felt a bit of a change in how they're playing. So I think B minus for Ghost.
Yeah, they've looked really good. Like, I imagine they're just sitting there not believing their luck. They've managed to get this Miss guy in, who's their main goal scorer by a long way. Looking at the goals that he scored, the types of goals that he's put home, he looks absolutely quality for Ghost Gaming. And they are looking, to me, like a solid bet for LAN at the moment. You know, if I could peek into the future and they finished third and managed to get through the regional playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised at all, which is just a huge step up from what we've seen from them over the last few seasons, where they always don't quite make... They're always sort of out first in the regional playoffs. That seems to be what Ghosts do, which is probably why they don't resonate with me that much. Their 3-1 loss to Space Station in week 1, there was no shame in it at all. Space Station had been voted by the pros as the most likely to top this table, probably apart from NRG. I am backing Ghost more and more, led by Mist, and I will probably give them a B+.
B plus. Okay, so both solid B territory.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they do just seem... I feel like whatever's happened, it seems to have inspired viewers a little bit more as well. It might just be like general positivity coming into the season, but I feel like I've seen a difference in how they're playing, which I'm really enjoying.
Yeah, they're interesting to watch. And to be honest, they made E United look really poor. And E United have never looked poor before, apart from week 1 in the RLCS Season 8. Do you remember when they were birds and bees? They won the first game against G2 and then lost the next 3, like, 6-1.
Yeah.
That's the last time I can remember that roster actually looking a cut below the team they were up against, and Ghost Gaming made that happen.
All right, so that's Ghost with the B minus and the B plus. Our next team, which might be one of the quickest ones we're going to be doing so far, is NRG. They are currently in second, but basically first. Lol. They're only got one worse game. They've got 6-2 instead of 6-1 compared to G2. They are 2-0 right now. They beat Susquehanna Lana Del Rey's 3-2 in week 1, and then they ended up beating Flight 3-0 in week 2. They are absolutely fat nutty. They are stupid good at essentially everything they seem to be attempting. I feel like having Turbo as well this week being the top goal scorer, I think in NA as well, and having every single position filled. It seems like he's been teaching Garrett and Justin where to be. He's trying to sort of impart some of his positional knowledge onto them, and Justin is teaching him more mechanics as well. It's sort of like that learning by osmosis.
Teaching how to backboard.
Yeah, he's got a fucking double tap, which I was mental. I think NRG, they are an A+ for me.
NRG, for me, probably they haven't come up against the 2 strongest teams. They lost a couple of games versus SQ. I'd probably go A-, only because I hold them to such high standards. Do you know what I mean? Like, anyone else would be solid A.
Okay, Pittsburgh Knights, they're in 7th right now. They are 1-1. They beat Flight in... I keep reading FLY on Wikipedia as Fly Quest. And it's really annoying me. It's Flight. Can you make it FLI at Wikipedia? They won.
Lucas,
they got
come on.
Reverse sweep in week 1 against Flight 3-2. And then in week 2, they lost to G2 3-1. It doesn't seem like they are working with AJ. Their aggression and everything that made them special, which was demos and bumps, they just seem to have chucked out the window in favour of AJ being twirly and pretty, which he does do very well. However, that's not what PK are about. It worked on Rogue to an extent. I don't think it's working on PK. I think that was a pretty poor roster move personally, unless they can change it as they go through the weeks. I think Pittsburgh Knights, for me right now, compared to where they have been in the previous season and how they have been at DreamHacks and stuff, I'm looking at them being a B-, personally. They're currently 7th, but I don't think they'll stay there at all. It's only week 2, ultimately. So I think B- for Pittsburgh Knights.
I think that's really generous based on the first couple of weeks. They're all over the fucking place. I think they're a D team right now. Woo! They've lost their bite. They've lost their aggression. It's not working with AJ. Rettles tweeted out saying that it's the first time he'd ever felt boxed into his own half when he came up against G2. And your boy posted a fucking biting response to that.
Hello.
Because earlier on in the day, he had an interview with Leaf, and he was like, yeah, I've pre-planned all my tweets for when I beat these teams. So when he tweeted out saying that he was camped in his own half, I responded saying, is that the tweet that you'd pre-planned?
Oi,
70 likes. Booyah. Well, happy with that.
Oi,
but yeah,
oi.
they look shit, to be honest.
They look shit at Rettles. They look shit. Okay, so you're giving them a D, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Fair enough. I think they're going to end up high. I think they'll make it to LAN. I do think they will. I think it'll be a fucking struggle, but I think they will make it to LAN. Do you? Just quickly.
Based on at the moment, no. I don't think there's any chance they make it to LAN right now, from what I've seen.
Okay, Rogue, they're in 8th. They are 1-1. They ended up losing to G2 in week 1 and then beating Cloud9 in week 2. They have not looked great. They're currently in 8th position. Will they get much higher than that? Maybe not. I think their roster move of getting first killer in can be a positive one, but I think it will take another season for it to properly come into effect. Just like we saw with Dignitas when they got Astral in. They've been a little bit shaky, and then they started to be very dominant. I think that's going to be the exact same situation for Rogue, and I don't think they're particularly worrying about it. I think they know what their plan was coming into the season, and by all accounts, it seems to be going okay. I think Rogue right now are a D+. I think they're a D+ right now. I think ultimately they're all right. This isn't going to be their season. See what happens.
Yeah, I think that's completely fair. Their game against Cloud9 had all the hallmarks of a relegation 6-pointer. It looked like we were looking at the two worst teams in the NA RLCS scrapping against each other. And fair play to them, they won out. Crow rolled back the years of a great performance. He was scoring 6 goals. First killer had his first game where he really popped off and showed that he was, this wonder kid. Because he hadn't really seen that before. He'd been quite safe in all his gaming. But yeah, no, they beat Cloud9. That's all you have to do. You can only beat what's put in front of you. I think I would give them... I'll go C-, so a little bit better than you, but I think they'll be bottom 2.
Yeah. I think they're going to get in that bottom 3. I don't think they're going to be auto-relegated, but I think they're going to be in that fight. See what happens. But I think their season is next season, to be fair.
Okay.
Space Station Gaming, they're currently 5th. 1-1. They beat Ghost Gaming week 1, 3-1. And then in week 2, they ended up losing to Susquehanna Squankalonques 3-1 as well. They had just a fucking sensational Season 8, and it seems like a 1-1 going into Season 9 is not the start that they or their fans anticipated. The SQ did look pretty strong, but I still don't really know much about them, to be honest. I feel like they are going to be a little bit shaky throughout. They're going to be a mid-table team where I predicted they'd end up last season. I think they've had an exceptional Season 8, but now they find their footing, end up mid-table. Maybe make it to LAN, maybe don't. We'll see what happens. I think they're going to be somewhere in the middle, so let's go C. Yeah, I'll go C for them, somewhere in the middle.
Bear in mind that this was the team that I believe the NA pros rated as top. I think that was a little bit tongue-in-cheek compared to NRG. Yeah. So we'll bring them back down to second-ish on the power rankings. But this is a quality team, and I think the fact that they were poor against Susquehanna Llamas in week 2, I don't think we can bring them down too much for that, because to be honest, SQ were better than them. Space Station weren't playing that badly. They just come up against a better team on the day. I agree with your rating of C for how their season has gone so far, because against Ghost, they looked solid, they looked comfortable, pretty much as we expected from them, but they're not really looking like they're going to put anyone to the sword just yet. They need some more warming up before they get into it.
So C as well?
Yeah.
It's ultimately 2-3-1 series they've had. Like, it's a very middling series. They came up against a team that they were better than, and then they came up against a team who on the day were better than them. I don't think SQ are better than them in general, personally. Even though they have finished one spot above them. They are currently in 4th. Go on.
Can I start with this one? Because I just want to rave about them. Can I, I just
want to... May I say where they are?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. The Susquehanna Stingrays, they are currently in 4th position, one above Space Station Gaming. They are 1-1. They ended up losing to NRG in week 1, 3-2. And then in week 2, they ended up beating Space Station Gaming 3-1. Cole, would you like to have a masturbate?
Yes, I would, mate. The Susquehanna Llamas, I fucking love the way they play Rocket League. But I've got to say, who the hell is this Shock guy? And where has he come from? I'm asking the people who watch the NA RLRS, which I can't claim to have ever seen in my life. Is he genuinely this good? Or is it just coincidence that his first 2 RLCS weeks he's been, to use a phrase that everyone loves in esports, popping off. He's been quality.
Popping off, getting those go-ahead goals.
Upper 90. Like, it's not like he's just been sort of like mechanically styling on everyone, but he is always in the perfect position, and then his shots are bullets. I really hope that he is the new Squishy Muffins that comes out of nowhere and ends up sitting right on top of the perch, because the first couple of weeks, he has seemed that good. SQ, I love the way they play. I've loved both series that they've been part of. Fair play, they took it to NRG. They defended when they had to, but they still attacked. They weren't scared like Flight were. I think SQ are A. I considered A star.
Fuck! You considered A star?
Yeah, because what else could they have done? They've come up against NRG
Won?
and then Space Station.
They could have won.
Against
we
NRG,
literally
yes.
said earlier that for
A, not A star.
G2... Oh, yeah, sorry, okay. Okay, God, I thought you were actually going A star.
No, A, not A star. Because
Still
you can only...
fucking good.
Mate, I'm rating on them based on what we expected from them in the first 2 weeks. You're such a piece of shit.
So I've honestly, I need to go. That's one of the matches that I missed. I didn't see the first 3 or 4 of week 2 because I was out. I need to go back then and watch Space Station versus SQ.
Definitely.
I'm basically going off how I saw them in week 1 with my rating, which was a relatively close 3-2 to NRG. I think that week 1 can be a little bit of an anomaly for a lot of teams. It's sort of getting themselves back on rhythm, getting themselves back up to pace. And maybe the Susquehanna Stingrays did end up beating them. Sorry, getting those 2 games because of that. I saw a lot of people vibing with Shock on Twitter. People seem to love him, and on Reddit as well. Good. I will go with a controversial...
Oh, don't do it.
B-.
What else could they have done?
1.
Against NRG?
Yeah,
but
obviously. Literally,
why B-?
Or won it at 3-0.
You're insane.
No, right there they go. Because look at the play. So we've had the other teams that are around B-. Your Pittsburgh Knights, your Ghosts, that's by actually. Literally 2 other teams at B. But yeah, those teams where they are very strong and they have a good level that they might be able to reach to. Oh, I've just confused myself, by the way, for putting these backwards. There we are. So yeah, I think they've got a decently high skill ceiling. I just don't know them enough to say that, yes, they are going to be an A team. Don't get me wrong, I feel like they can be. And you know what? Fuck it. I think they might be able to get to A star. I don't fucking know.
I hope so.
But it could also just be a strong start. And I know we need to consider them based off 2 weeks out of 8 ultimately and see where they end up. I think they will probably make it to LAN, and I'd love to see them there. And I want to see another dissolution of the big 3 and say, fuck it, the Susquehanna Stingrays are there to stay. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
They're there to sting.
If you guys disagree or agree with any of our ratings thus far, by the way, whack it in the YouTube comments. Fuck it. See what happens. See if we reply. We might do, might not. We need to go to EU now, Cool Carl.
We do.
Let's take a quick flight. What's your preferred airline?
British Airways first class, because I'm not some peasant scum prick.
That's very fair. You also get free food and alcohol on British Airways.
We've never been on first class, have we? Yeah,
we've not. No, we've been on it's called World Traveller, but it's basically just economy. They give it a fancy name, but you get free alcohol. But they ran out of gin. I wanted to have a nice gin and tonic on the plane, but they fucking ran out, which I was really annoyed about. Because the guy next to me, I ordered orange juice. And the guy next to me, I'll have a gin and tonic. And they're like, I've got a fucking orange juice. What am I,
I've made a huge mistake.
Doing?
What, and he got the last one?
I then got one after him as well. But I didn't know we could get a gin and tonic. This is mental. How is this allowed?
That's funny.
Now we're over in EU. We've landed. And we are going to be having a gander at Barcelona for our first team. So, Barca. They are currently chilling out in second place. They are 2-0. In week 1, they beat Veloce 3-2, and in week 2, they beat Endpoint 3-0. Do I think that Flakes fits on that team better did on Complexity? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yay!
Do I think that it is going to be a world-class roster move by the end? No. I think it's up there as one of the better ones that we've seen. However, I think that I think that was the best thing that Flakes could have gone to, realistically. I think he seems to be a more mechanically gifted Bluey. However, I think he has been told by Ronicky and by Devo, how did you not notice that your one problem was the fact you didn't fucking pass and the fact you didn't hit it hard? And he's like, oh, fuck yeah, no, that's a really good point. And now he just sort of is doing that. So it seems like it was a good roster move for them. I feel that Barcelona have had a little bit of a stonking first 2 weeks.
They have.
They came up against a Veloce team that didn't seem to have the same spark in them that they did at LAN. And it seems like Endpoint, which I'm going to gush over in a couple of teams' time. Don't shake your head. I can see. I don't know why you're shrugging.
I'm shrugging. I'm doing a big old shrug for your
Fucking
weird
sick.
fanboyism of Endpoint. The only man in
No,
the
they're
world.
weirdly good. Right, we'll get there. I think Barcelona, they're going to be chilling out at a B for me. They're doing really well so far. I think when they come up against a Dignitas, or when they come up against a Vitality or something like that, maybe not Vitality, maybe Reciprocity, then they're going to maybe struggle a little bit. But right now, I think they're a B+.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'd probably take it down to a B, just because they haven't looked flawless, but they have looked very comfortable indeed. And I have completely 180'd on Flakes. I didn't like the guy much as a pro last season, but fuck me, chucking out the what's it called of a cockroach, then the gizmo the week after. Yeah. I love him. He does not give a shit what anyone thinks, and I have bought into that completely. So, FC Flakes. Let's fucking have it. Have a B, mate, and have a super fandom
Have a
on
B
me.
next to your cockroach.
They have looked good, though. Genuinely, they have looked really good, Barcelona.
I love the fact that Flakes made the point of, look, guys, the cars really don't matter that much. Like, when I saw it on Complexity, to me, and I think it's a fair thing to see, is that I saw it and thought, he's just fucking around. He's given up. This is the time where every % of your gameplay has to be perfect, and yet he was still fucking out the cars. And they still lost, and I found that quite disrespectful. However, now that they're winning with it, I think it now works. And I think that's a very valid criticism of the time that he's chosen to do it as well.
Yeah, I like the fact that he did it in week 1. So it's not like his team are playing poorly, oh well, who cares, we use a shit car, or his team are doing great, we're so good, or use a shit car. He's basically said, look, everything's even, I'm still doing this. And I've seen a lot of debate about whether he is making a sort of political statement of the cars don't matter, or if genuinely it helps him de-tilt. It's tough to tell without really.
It might make him focus more on everything that's happening, because he's like, fuck, right, the gizmo. Where's the on button? How the fuck does this thing work? So,
why does this car sound like a lawnmower?
I think it's cool. I like the fact he's changing cars. I like the fact also the desk are embracing it. They're like, what the fuck's he going to pick now? So, Barcelona, they end up at a B+/B level. Next team is Dignitas. Holy fucking shit, Dignitas are good.
Masturbation.
They are currently sitting in third, which is criminal, because they have had a 3-2 win against TSM, and then in week 2, they've then beat AS Monaco 3-1. It has been an absolute pleasure. Like, even if I wasn't a massive Dignitas fanboy, and Violent Panda was not my 2-time world champion best mate, it has been an absolute pleasure to watch Dignitas play. They seem inspired. They seem like every play they're doing, they've rehearsed 100 times, yet it still seems to be improvisational. They have got an answer to everything that a team seems to chuck at them. They get caught short every now and then, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't seem like they are ever realistically struggling to comprehend the game around them. It always seems like they've got their head screwed on. They know what's happening with it. Is that due to Panda being an incredible captain? Almost certainly. Is it due to the fact that Yukio is really fucking sick at Rocket League and he is aiding to simultaneously hype up Astral, but then also Astral is bringing everybody down to a sensible level? Maybe. It's due to the fact that Verge is so fucking inspirational. Yes. I think Dignitas are an A+ for me right now. They're not an A*, ultimately. I'm not going to be a dickhead.
Does it go plus then star? Is that how? Is that not a... Okay, I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, yeah, because it goes A-, A+, I guess you
I'm
can't
not
have
sure
an
that's
A-star
true.
minus. Of course it is, because we've got a B+ and B- and stuff.
No, I know,
A+.
but I don't think that A+. I think A+ is American and A* is English. I don't think you can
I'm
go
putting
A+ then
A-star
A*.
above it.
Okay, you're the host.
I've seen A-star as triple S like level, like in a racing game.
This is all over the fucking place how we're reviewing
I
this,
cannot
but fair
wait
enough.
to give a team A-star plus.
A* plus S.
A-star plus SSS. My God, it's going to be a good week.
As long as it's not SS.
I think Dignitas are so relatively flawless right now, where it still seems like they have room to grow, and it seems like there's still more that we can see from them. And I said it before the season started, I think Dignitas are going to finish number 1 in league play. They might fuck it in the playoffs. I've hedged my bets, but I think in league play, they finish number 1 spot. And so far, they've proven me right.
I feel like there's a certain artistry to the way that Dignitas play that probably no other team at the moment in the world is matching. Even NRG are more solo based than Dignitas are. They've got the solo factor in Astral, but the wizardry of which they ping the ball about and keep possession and somehow keep boost is just an absolute sight to behold. I was just watching AS Monaco in awe. I was giggling along. I was chuckling at the passes they were putting on a plate to each other and then smashing the ball, bulleting it into the top corner. They're my favourite team to watch so far this season. And they remind me of Flipside Tactics a few seasons ago when Flipside with Yukio and Mystic and Cooksir had that same thing where they just always seem to keep the ball. They'd always get that next touch. Poor old Monaco didn't have a clue what to do. The only criticism I have of Dignitas, and the only thing that to me takes them to a solid A rather than an A+ in our system,
if that does exist,
is the fact that I think they got a little bit carried away against Monaco. You could tell they were almost having too much fun, which is great to me as a viewer. But if I'm their coach, I'm thinking, boys, you're 2-0 up. There's 40 seconds left. Maybe don't go for the wonder passing play. Just rotate back and grab some boost, because it did almost let Monaco back in Game 4. So it's something to be careful about. But yeah, they are just sublime. They
are delightful to watch. They're just so good. But yeah, I'm very excited. They are, despite obviously including the fact that they are one of my favorite teams to like that I like anyway. They are, I think, just one of the best teams to view as a fan. I think if I was to recommend any game at the moment in Europe, it would be a Dignitas match. It basically showcases everything that you can do in Rocket League at the highest level. It shows the passes, it shows the solo plays, it shows they fucking fake everyone as well, by the way. They're chucking out fakes left, right and centre, making Tigra like a fucking dickhead.
Move on, come on, there's other teams to talk about.
Let's have another wank.
Get out of your stupor.
Right, end point. Firstly, I love the fact they were so much a G4NT Elite Series team, and they did not mention the G4NT Elite Series derby in week 1, which I was livid about. So, end point. They are currently sitting in 10th position. Okay?
Right, okay, sure.
Don't let that sway you. Because their first 2 games, they lost 3-1 to Renner Vitality, and then week 2, they lost 3-0 to Barcelona. Now, you might be thinking, Stumpy, why the fuck do you like this team so much?
You've got me. I am thinking that.
I think, in absolute earnest, that they can be the second coming of the Peeps. I honestly do. Obviously, they're signed a little bit lower down. They were going for so many interesting plays and tying demos and bumps in as often as they possibly could. It's what PK have basically forgotten to do. They've decided, or they've realised, whatever it is, that they aren't necessarily able to out-mechanic, outspeed on every occasion. Say they're gonna win like 40% of the challenge instead of like 50%. They've decided that they are a slight step down, and they've got that hubris to say, look, guys, we're not gonna be on that top level, right? And I appreciate they're 0-2 at the moment. However, I really feel like they were such a fucking fun team to watch. They took Vitality to close games. Vitality obviously aren't looking as strong as they have done previously, but they still took them to very close series. Only one of them had more than a 1-goal difference. Barcelona, they cunted it away a bit. I'm going to be honest. They threw it away. They didn't do very well. It was a bit of a shit show. No. Yeah. Shut up. They were not shy. Game 1.
After game 1, they were
shy. Game 1 was a over 5-minute overtime where, to be honest, both teams flubbed chances. I'm not going to say they didn't. Both teams fucked it a bit. Game 2, they lost 4-0. Wipe that one off the slate, boys. Game 3 was a 2-1 slugfest.
Slugfest. Slow eyes.
It was a 3-goal slugfest. It was such a good series to watch. If they can come back in and focus more on the demos and the bumps that they were getting previously, and honestly, just go for some fucking weird plays that probably they shouldn't go for, but sometimes they work, I think they do really well. I am going to say endpoint for me are a solid C. I think they're a C.
I'm so confused by everything you're saying.
What's wrong?
Right
What's
now.
happened? Why are you confused?
Why are they a C and not an A star SSS plus in your
I'm not
weird
a dickhead. I'm not going to give them an A star plus SSS.
when they're 0-2?
Yeah,
they
right,
didn't get a game against
cool.
Vitality.
Look,
right.
you can't just look at the number.
Yeah,
They're
right.
not just
Okay.
0-2.
Fair enough. All right, my turn. If you're thinking of average teams, and I think Endpoint currently are who you'd put right at the top, or in the middle, I guess, of your list of fucking average teams. They are 5 out of 10 average, not even your 7 sort of modern average. They're just all right. You know, fair play to them. They got a game of Vitality. That's good, I guess. Singularity managed to get 3, so congratulations to them. Against Barcelona, they got a little bit unlucky in the overtime, and then just imploded. They collapsed.
Yeah, they shit themselves.
I don't know what was going on.
Tell me you've not shit yourself.
Not on an RLCS pitch, mate. I'm not Gary Lineker.
You've never shit yourself on an RLCS pitch. I wonder why that is.
I don't know what you're seeing in these guys. I think they will be probably
Inspiration.
bottom 2. Where are you expecting they'll finish?
I'm expecting them. Let's have a look at the table real quick. I'm expecting realistically, a 5th to 7th finish. Like, realistically, I think they're going to be a bit of a mid-table. Maybe they'll make it through to the upper bracket, but I think we'll see them go through to the regional championships. The reason why I'm hyping them up so much is because I think they survive to next season and then they'll do better.
Maybe. I think that this season, you know how I said that they're not like a 7 out of 10 average, they're a 5th out of 10 average. But I think the way the league works this season, if you finish 7th, then fuck all happens. And I think that's where they're gunning for. They want that 7th spot. They don't want the pressure of promo relegation. They don't even want the pressure of playoffs. They want to take their $3,000 paycheck for finishing 7th and go for a little holiday on the beach in Spain.
I don't think they're in danger of promo relegation. I really don't. Like, right now, I'm looking at the table. It says endpoint.
I really hope you're right.
Yeah. But I honestly do not see them finishing in the bottom 3.
I'll give them a C- and let's move on.
You fucker. Okay, right. C-. Right. AS
Right,
Monaco.
we need to speed.
Okay, AS Monaco. Right, what the fuck are they doing? They have currently gone 0-2. Both 1-3 against Mouse and Dignitas. They are chilling in 9th spot. I see them, personally, as worse than Endpoint. I think they've got the individual skill to be better than them, but I don't think they're working as well together as they have been in the rival series to get here. They were one of my strongest teams coming into Season 9, at least from the rival series and sort of the lower end of the RLCS. I don't see that they're going to do much better than the relegation area, which I think would be a shame. Maybe they're sort of like 6th to 8th spot, maybe. I'm going to give them a D+.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit harsh in the review, but I think what you've said is just about right. They have shown moments of potential. iGnite is still an amazing finisher, which I'm really happy to see. He's never lost that. But it's not quite enough at the moment. I think they need to be a bit more aggressive, just step forward a little bit more. Really believe that they are an RLCS caliber team.
Yeah,
it doesn't
maybe
look like they quite think that just yet.
Okay.
So I'll go C-.
Yeah, I think they've got a lot of potential. I really think they can do really well. Maybe they've had two rough first weeks. Bear in mind they're against Mouse and Dignitas. Come on. Okay, Mouse Sport, speaking of them, they, in week 1, beat AS Monaco 3-1. And then in week 2, they lost to Reciprocity 3-1. They are currently sitting in 6th place. 1-1. Mouse Sports, the move of Scrub Killer was one that I didn't necessarily know would work. And I do think it does. I think even though they're 1-1, I think Scrub does fit on very well in that team. There's still a few kinks to work out because you've ultimately got 2 players that want to be on the ball as much as humanly possible. I think Speed should maybe go for the go for more of an assist role compared to his normal striker role with Scrub on the team. As Scrub's able to, if it does get a little bit hairy, he can sort of pull something out his arse a little bit more consistently than Speed can. I think Mouse are a solid B team. I think they're pretty sick. But maybe I'm giving them a little bit too much benefit of the doubt.
I think if we're judging their start to the season, they've looked all right. They haven't really exploded out the blocks, and I thought they would not try to, because obviously they're trying to. I thought they'd be able to a little bit more than they have. They haven't really looked a step above anyone. They beat AS Monaco. They were quite comfortable, but you're not really looking at them thinking, wow, this is the team that's going to go on to do great things. 3 of the 4 games were overtime against AS Monaco, and then they won the final game 2-0. So it's close. Against Reciprocity were a step ahead, which I think is what you'd be expecting from Mouse at this point. They are going to take a while for Scrub Killer to adjust going from Vitality to Mouse. There's going to be a transition period, which is what you and I said on this podcast a few weeks ago. So we've always thought that would happen. I think Reciprocity came too early for them. I'd say just C. They've done about as expected. It's not disastrous. It's not exploded into life. They're doing fine. They'll probably finish in the top 4 of the season once all is said and done. They're gonna be fine by their standards.
Yeah, I think they'll be good. I think we'll see them in playoffs rather. We'll see them in playoffs, and I think they'll do pretty well. It just depends on how well Scrub fits in the team in the following weeks. Hopefully, pretty good. All right, our next team is Reciprocity. Now they have currently gone 2-0, 3-1 against Singularity and 3-1 against Mousesports. They are our top team in Europe. Do I feel as if they are the top team in Europe? No, I don't. I think they're the second top team in Europe. I think Dignitas are the top team in Europe. I do, however, think that Ferrer is an absolute fucking magician. He is absolutely sensational. I think it's the first time we've seen Ferrer have the spotlight on him, and he's shown up. Obviously, previously, it's been a case of Chaussette has got the spotlight on Fruit. He's just there being fucking Danish or whatever. Ferrer this time has done an incredible job of showing up when he needs to and being a not even just a supportive player, but also being an offensive character and being incredibly comfortable looking as well. It doesn't look like he's having to awkwardly score goals. He is confident that each shot he's taking has a very high percentage chance of going in. I think Reciprocity are an A at the moment.
Yeah, they've done everything that's expected of them. I mean, they've not had the easiest start in the world. Singularity, we learnt in week 2, and we'll go on to them in a second, are a genuinely brilliant team. So beating them 3-1 in retrospect, a great result for Reciprocity. And then against Mouse, like throughout, even though they lost either game 1 or game 2, to my eyes, they always looked like the better team, which is what you want from the team that people have put top of the power rankings. You want them to seem superior. And I think they feel it. I think each and every one of them is so comfortable in their roles. Ferrer, as you say, he's someone that can, when his shooting isn't on point, they can look a bit awkward. But I think he feels so comfortable that he's not going to miss. He's going to be bulleting every single shot home. Fruity every now and then pops up with a mechanical thing and he's linking the play. And then Chaussette. Chaussette against Mouse, he was pulling the fucking strings. It's been a long time since we've seen Chaussette. And Chaussette Chaussetted in that series. Just to remind everyone that when he is playing well, Reciprocity are the best team in the world. And I think that Fruity and Ferrer haven't been at this level compared to Chaussette, while Chaussette's been playing well.
Agreed, yeah.
Maybe ever. So they are coming into form, the form that we all want to see from these guys. I think that they've been... I'll go A-.
Okay.
Because they've got very high standards and they have to keep it going. I can only review them so far, but yeah, I think A- is fair.
Very excited to see the game against Reciprocity and Dignitas, by the way.
Me too, that's what I was thinking earlier.
That is going to be... That's the final game in the final week. Oh, God, that's going to be fucking sick. Okay, next team, Singularity. In week 1, they lost to Reciprocity 3-1, and in week 2, they ended up beating Renault Vitality 3-2 in an overtime at the end on Godsmother's birthday with a flip reset, pull shot, own goal on K-Dop. It was one of the most, maybe the hypest moment I've seen so far in this season of RLCS. It was absolutely incredible. Singularity, holy fuck, what a team. They seem to have so much more synergy than other teams we've seen be together for longer. I think it's one of those mentalities that you have coming out of the rival series, just like Endpoint, where you've got the... What are you laughing? Where
It's
you've
two equal
got...
teams. It's nice to see you bring them up again.
Yeah, where you've got a less time together, however, you've worked harder on that synergy and that sort of that shared chemistry between each other. Singularity, to me, are one of the strongest rival series teams we've ever seen come into the RLCS.
Agreed.
And I think for that reason, if we're... we're grading this based on the teams compared to the other teams as well, yeah?
I'm grading it on how we'd... So personally, I've been grading it on how well we expected this team to do compared to how well they're doing. So I think we've been grading on slightly different scales. So
yeah, I've been going off
fine.
where I think they'd be ending up, and also compared to other teams as well, and also comparing them to other teams. So like Dignitas,
You got a
Reciprocity,
hodgepodge
that kind of thing.
of
Yeah,
factors.
I think Singularity, if I'm judging them based off how they played in week 1 and week 2, I think I've got to give them an A-. I think they have done an absolutely fucking outstanding job. However, I do still think they are quite obviously below Dignitas and Reciprocity, but they've just had an absolutely blinding first 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, fair play to them. Game 1 against Reciprocity, their very first game in the RLCS, I think for all of these players as individuals as well, they lost 4-0.
Yeah.
That's tough. That is a harsh welcome to the RLCS. And since then, they've just rallied and given us, I think, maybe one of the best league play moments ever. Godsmiller's, flip reset, 0 second, overtime, game
Pull
5,
shot,
winner
own
against
goal.
K-Dot, pull shot, Godsmiller's
Against
birthday.
K-Dot, man.
Against
You know,
K-Dot.
like a fucking knobhead.
If anyone can think of a better league play moment in any RLCS season, please remind me of it, because I truly can't. They haven't just looked... But they haven't looked like that was a flash in the pan either. Often with teams like this, you can tell they're playing above themselves because it's individual plays, right? Singularity, you're not getting a sense of that at all. I mean, Godsmiller wasn't even their MVP, it was Noli. Tho looked a bit chasey, and he's going to have to be reined in because there's going to be times where he overdoes that. But as a trio, they look great. And I think they're looking very... I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them get a land spot right now. I think that A for Singularity, for the moment that they've given us... playing above themselves. Oh, also, by the way, every week we do our RLCS pre-shows, and we do predictions with chat. We ask chat to vote.
Is that on twitch.tv/SubPar but in HD?
Yes, that's the one where we stream for a few hours before the RLCS. Then we raid for the pre-show, so people don't miss a second.
Cool.
When we were doing Renault Vitality versus Singularity, so people in chat have to vote for V or S. Everyone voted V, fair enough.
Naturally.
And then I saw Godsmiller in chat. So I was like, guys, we want to give Godsmiller confidence. Everyone say 2. Because then we say, do you think they'll get 0 games, 1 game, or 2? And our chat, bless their hearts, everyone went with 2. So Godsmiller was like, yeah, 2-3 against Vitality. That's not bad at all.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I think that we can thank a large part of their victory to the SubPar but in HD Twitch community. So if anybody was in that stream, pat yourself on the back right now. You did a good thing.
You beat Vitality, guys. Yeah, I'm so excited to see what happens to them in the end. It'll be absolutely incredible to watch. Hopefully they keep on this high and they work with it. Also, happy birthday, Smiller. All right, TSM are our next team. They are currently sitting in 8th spot, going 0-2. They lost 3-2 to Dignitas in week 1, and then they lost 3-1 to Veloce in week 2. TSM having their little old switch up by getting in Magnus over fucking Alpha. Do I think it was a good move? I think it was. I don't think Alpha fit on that team very well. I think it must have been a bit of an awkward mentality on that team as well, with Alpha almost certainly thinking, I'm better than these guys, for better or for worse. I think having Magnus on there as a familiar face, as a friend, and as someone to be lighthearted with, I think it's going to do them well confidence-wise as they go through the season. However, their first 2 weeks... their first result was a decent one against Dignitas, ultimately. Their 2 overtimes, they won them. They held their nerve really well against what I've said is, I think, the best team in Europe. And then the second week, which where I unfortunately saw a lot less of it, they won 1-0, and then they lost 1-0, 2-0, 2-0. I think TSM are going to be fiddling? I think they're going to be finishing middling. So somewhere around 6th to 8th place. They might end up back in that relegation tournament, which would be just horrible to watch. I think I'm going to have to give them a D so far. I don't think I've seen much out of them that inspires me, apart from like Metzer's triple touch off the ceiling and the backboard, and then Magnus's 0-second goal against Dignitas to like bring them within 1, but it was 0 seconds, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, TSM are there. They're part of the table. They're hitting the ball sometimes. They're really boring. Like, both their series... Well, actually, to be fair, the series against Dignitas was good, but the one against Veloce, they had nothing. There was no spark. There was no creativity. It was like 1-0 to one team, 1-0 to the other team, and then 2-0, then 1-0. It was like the most boring games you can possibly imagine.
I didn't watch that series.
Mate, don't. Like, honestly, instead of that, staple your eyelids. You'll have a better time. It was terrible. I said when we were predicting this season that TSM were going to be really bad. They were better than I thought they would be against Dignitas, and then it's more like I expected against Veloce. I'll give them a D, I guess.
Yeah, both on D.
They're there. I'm sorry to any TSM players listening to this, but like, I don't know, score some flip resets or something.
Hi, Metzer.
Hi.
Want a podcast, Metzer?
Wait till he steps up in like week 6 when he's popping off, and then I can say, look, Metzer, I didn't believe. I'm sorry.
You love that. You love not believing and then being like, yeah, you know what? Actually, you were sick.
I'm a big believer in admitting when you're wrong.
Veloce, our penultimate team. They finished, well, they're right now 1-1 in 4th place on our table. They lost 3-2 to FC Barcelona in week 1, and then they beat TSM in week 2, 3-1. Veloce are not playing as well as they somehow did. They're very Space Station, or last season's Space Station, in how they played, where they had an incredible first season up in the RLCS together, and now they're sort of finding their spot again. I think Veloce have got a little more to offer, but not much more than I've seen of them thus far. I think they're chilling out at a C level. I think they're all right. I think they'll do fine. They'll have a chance to make it to land. Will they, won't they? I don't really know. So I think a C for Veloce.
Yeah, Veloce are sort of showing that they weren't a one-season wonder. They're always a solid team. They're never the most entertaining to watch, in my opinion. They'll grind out victories here and there. Fair play to Freaky, who's playing really well this season. I think he's their main man so far. Again, they're all right. I think they'll be fine. They'll probably finish somewhere between 5th and 3rd, which is good for them. Just swimming along in the RLCS. Can't ask for too much more than that.
Yeah,
I'll stick with C. Yeah, that's fine.
C. Back to our double C's, mate. Our double D's, now on double C's. Final team. Vitality.
Oh,
this is where... this is...
I don't know what to say. This is
where
it
could get mean. So, Vitality, in week 1, they somehow managed to beat Endpoint 3-1. And then in week 2, they lost to Singularity 3-2. Cole, I would like for you, just to answer a question for me real quick.
Okay.
Do you think if Singularity played Vitality 10 times in a row, 10 series in a row, in a simulation world, Godsmiller's always his birthday. He's always seen the chat be on his side.
So always the same context, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that Singularity will come out on top more often than Vitality in that situation?
Singularity won 3 OTs.
They did.
Is my answer to your question. The games they won all went down to the next goal wins. So, no, I don't think that Singularity would win too many if there were 10 simulations against Renault Vitality. And if Singularity had lost the first couple of those OTs, it would have been 3-0 Vitality, everyone would have been moving on. You know, Vitality aren't shit. It's not like they've come out the gate and they've got Alpha now into the scrub and it's like the worst decision ever. But they are setting themselves up for a massive fall. Everyone has always said it. The second scrub killer gets kicked and Alpha gets brought in, they've got the whole French thing going on. They get rid of Gregan.
Which is, by the way, just still such a fucking stupid decision.
One of Rocket League's literal geniuses.
They never would have lost to the fucking nobodies on Singularity if Gregan was a
Smiller. He's one of our subs.
Smiller. Like, he subbed for 6 months, the fucking idiot.
It's like Drumzors, a name that literally no one hearing this knows or cares about, beating Vitality. That's how fucking unlikely it is.
Fucking nobody Smiller beating them. If Gregan was there, it would have trounced into the fucking ground like he deserves.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, Vitality are definitely not the future dynasty team that we hope for as of yet. I think they'll finish. I mean, to be fair, you've got Dignitas, our pick.
Mm-hmm.
You got Reciprocity, solid second. Mouse are going to get better.
Yeah.
Barcelona are looking really good.
Mm-hmm.
Vitality have a battle to get into the top 4.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Which is not what they wanted.
Not by going full French and with the absolute powerhouse of Mount chilling out, coaching away like I'm a little French legend. I think that Vitality have had a suboptimal roster move, and I think this is finally where K-Dop's run of not winning Worlds and changing roster is going to come and bite him. Because bear in mind, every time he's not won Worlds, he's changed roster. Either he's moved teams or he's changed a teammate. I think this is where finally it's going to catch up with him. And actually, there were issues on the team that were off the pitch that could have been sorted out should everybody have been on the same page with it. I think that was not the problem. We're not saying that K-Dop is the one who's going to be the issue and it's like, oh no, I'm going to get rid of as many people as I physically can until we win. I think there was obviously issues with Scrub. And Scrub wasn't pulling his weight. And various problems like that. So I don't think this was a particularly good move for Vitality, at least in this season. I think I agree with you where they're going to be a bit of a middling team. They won't be finishing top 2. I think they're quite set in for me with Dignitas and Reciprocity. And I think we're going to see them maybe get to the semi-finals of playoffs. I think right now they're I think C+ or B-. I'm going to go B-. I think they're B-. I still think they're very good. I still think they're going to beat teams as and when they come to them. I think the fact that they're 1-1 right now was a little bit of good luck on the side of Singularity and just them playing out of their minds on the day. I think realistically they could be 2-0, but they're not right now. Do they have the distance to go much further into top 3? Maybe not. Maybe not.
With Vitality, their standards, again, are so high, and the pressure that K-Dop and the team have put upon themselves are so astronomical that anything less than the perfection and a real statement is a huge disappointment for those guys.
Yep.
If you look at the fixtures, the first couple of weeks, week 1, they've got Endpoint, a promoted team. Week 2, they've got Singularity, a promoted team who are probably rated below Endpoint coming into the season. You're expecting them to win both of those games really comfortably and drop maybe 1 or 2 games
and then
combined
move on
in both, and then move on to their third game, which is TSM, another one they'll be expecting to win. The fact that they've already had that loss means that 1, they've lost their fear factor. 2, they are already below perfection and being mocked for it. So I think that this start for Vitality is actually more disastrous than maybe even you or I are giving it credit for. I'm going to give their start a C-, because you have to beat Endpoint and Singularity. You have to beat them both comfortably.
Yeah, I think ultimately it came down to those overtimes, like you said, and Singularity just seemed to have their heads screwed on more often in that series that happened to be played on that day. I think if it was a simulation, Vitality win 7 out of 10 matchups. I mean, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, probably.
But there's always a chance you just need to perform on the day ultimately. Okay, well, those are our rated teams. That's them done. Our star teams from each region are Dignitas with an A+ and an A, and Reciprocity with an A and an A-, and also Singularity, to be fair, with an A- and an A. And then in North America, this is spread out so much more. In North America, NRG are our top team with an A+ and an A-, and G2 with 2 A's. So well done to those guys. And now, Cole, we've got to the sponsored section of the Poddy C. This is the Player of the Week. WEAK. Have you got it yet?
Yeah, no, I get that now. I'm with you.
Yeah?
It's 'cause it's 7 days.
No, week. Right. Player of the Week, sponsored by Gamers Ready, is, and I'm so sorry, Torment. This is one of those situations where I don't think it's going to be much of a surprise that he has had a few issues getting into the week, getting into this season, rather. I was backing C9 to get into form again after their lengthier than usual off-season, but he has just really been struggling with his positioning. We said that Squishy looked comfortable earlier and Gimmick struggled in week 1 as well and sort of started to bring it back in week 2. But unfortunately, Torment doesn't seem to be the kind of player who knows where he exists right now. However, I do not think that is an ability thing whatsoever. I still consider him to be one of the best defenders in the game. I think he's got that ability to work himself to that level. It's just about the mental fortitude to get himself back to that level, ultimately. I feel bad that he's had a rough time coming into this season after having such a long off-season as well. It must be tough, like watching Worlds, giving it a month, and then coming back and playing, and it just sort of all going to shit quite quickly. Mm-hmm. But it's mentality, it's confidence. And Cloud9, as far as we know, they might also be working with him already, Cloud9 need to get some sports psychology involved and get him talking and see what the problem is. Is this something in his personal life that's going on? Because that's going to affect you just as much. We saw that he actually, I want to give him some praise for a tweet that he put out. So I know that I've liked to slap people with their tweets before, Ronicky, where Torment said, "So disappointed in myself right now. Felt good all week and then couldn't do a single thing right in both of our matches so far this season." And sort of like a face. GG's Rogue. Good tweet. I like it. Fair play. Said, look, I didn't feel top of my game. Fair play. Well played, Rogue. Good stuff. Love that, Torment. Happy days. Turbo then replied with one of my favourite tweets that I've seen in a reply to one of these pro sort of upset tweets. He said, "You're not the MVP for no reason, boy. Just bing bang and sling sling and you got next week easily."
I fucking love Turbo so much.
And then Torment replied saying, "This is why you're my favourite 4-time world champion." So, nice series of tweets. Cole, do you agree with me that it's very much a mentality thing and he does have the ability to be one of the best in the defensive game?
Yeah, I completely do. Torment, have you ever been in a Rocket League match, Stumpy, and just felt like you didn't want to be there anymore? 2 minutes in, you're like, oh, I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
My teammate, I'm not saying that Squishy and Gimmick were toxic, but in a ranked situation, my teammates are being toxic. I just don't want to be here anymore. And that means you play worse, you avoid the ball. You see a teammate going up for a shot, and you're thinking, please don't miss, because if you do, I'm going to have to do some defending. Have you felt that? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and like they're in the opponent's net and there's two players coming to you, and you literally say on comms, "Oh, yeah, we're about to concede." They score these.
I feel like poor old Torment, just from watching his gameplay against Rogue, I felt like that's how he felt. And that struck me deep, because I get there. I'm an emotional player myself.
We get you, bro.
Yeah, we completely do. Watching that series made me want to bring up the conversation of substitutions. Not like in-game, but like between weeks in esports. Because as far as I'm aware, in any given esport, it's not really a thing. You have your team and you have your sub. And if someone from the team can't play, they get injured or their flight, they get trapped in another country, whatever, if they can't play, then the sub steps in. There's not really rotation. But I feel that based on last week, Torment could probably do with a week off. Fireburner is their coach and sub. He can step in for a week. Even if they lose it 3-0, they get dicked. Yep. Torment would then think, oh, thank God I needed that. Do you know what I mean? Either he watches the series or he goes and does literally anything other than watching the series.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that would do the team some good. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, so we've sort of seen a situation similar to that, where it was actually Speed back in, I'm pretty sure, Season 7, where they'd just been released by Flipside, they just won WSOE, everything was going well, and then Speed was on holiday. I think he went to Florida. And instead of letting their sub freeze play, instead of letting him literally just play on his home setup, Speed played on a laptop in Florida on a European RLCS match. Because they were just like, look, we're not, like, we've got our sub just in case. And even with the just in case, they still didn't let it happen. I'd love for there to be subs that are able to happen. I think the reason why they don't is because of injuries and stuff. Like, you just don't get injured. Unless, obviously, you do outside of a game or whatever. You won't, like, stretch yourself too far like a footballer would and injure your hamstring, and therefore it's literally dangerous for you to go out because it could ruin your entire career. That's not a thing in esports. I'd like to see it happen, though. And I think if there was a time for it to happen, it would be now. I think it has to be said that would not at all be a negative thing for Torment. We're not saying that, okay, Torment shouldn't be playing because he was doing really badly and we think that Cloud9 would be better without him. Because no, that's not. I think that Cloud9 are the best team when it is obviously the 3 main members. However, what's best for Torment's mentality right now and his mental health? Is it going to RLCS each week and probably feeling like shit and feeling inadequate on the pitch? Or is it taking a step back, seeing what goes on, really fucking digging as deep as you humanly can in that time away, being able to practice everything, see how your teammates play, see if when they play with their sub, whoever their sub is, I think it's Fireburner.
It's Fireburner who's their sub and coach.
See what happens. Like, their next match for next week, that is against Flight. Look, if Torment goes in that and end up losing, how fucking shot is that mentality? It's one of the best weeks to do it in, I feel, for Cloud9 if they were to do it. Yeah,
I guess there's 2 ways of looking at that. Option 1 is if they lose, it will really sort of knock his confidence more. But if they win,
the worst fears.
If they win, though, suddenly he's back and he's like, oh shit, Flight are crap compared to me. God, I didn't realise. It turns out I am a player worthy of a top 3 team in NA or a top 3 team in the world, even when they're playing well. So it's up to, I guess, Fireburner or Cloud9 or Torment himself. I don't know, or Squishy and Gimmick. I don't know who'd make this decision, but it's up to whoever makes that decision to make that decision. And not just chuck him out there if he's not feeling it.
I'd like for it to be a conversation at least.
Exactly. That's what needs to happen. There needs to be communication. We never know what's happening behind the scenes. We don't know if during this game, Squishy and Gimmick were silent. You know, when you're tilted and you're not saying anything. Yeah. Maybe the whole time they're saying, come on, man, you got this. Don't worry about it. And they were perfect teammates. There's no way we can ever know that. All we can do is hope that the people that are looking after him are looking after him, because it wasn't a happy performance. You know, you can play bad and still like you're part of it. In game 5, Chronovi had a dribble and he was up against Torment in the overtime, and you just knew. Do you know what I mean? It got to that point where you just knew.
Yeah, it's like when you're playing with a mate and you're like, well, he can't defend.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed that I'm not back there to just save it instead even.
Yeah, exactly.
If there is something happening with Torment right now, because it's so out of character, because he's such a rock, I hope that everything with him is all right, and I hope that if it isn't, then the organisation, the team, the coach, the everything allows him that space to get all right again, because Torment he's such a fantastic player, and he can get back to being on top of his game. It's just a matter of how can the team and the organisation help him out with that.
Mate, what a fucking documentary that'd be, by the way. The rise and fall and the rise of Cloud9.
Like when you're making bread and you like let it rise in the air and you take it out, it sinks a little bit, you give it a knead, then you put it back in and it fucking goes nutty.
I could use that analogy, yeah, maybe.
We call him bread.
Maybe pile.
Call him bread. Call him Torment bread. Torn bread. Tor bread. Tor bread man. Tor bread.
Baguettes. Vitality.
Call it Vitality. The story of Vitality. So yeah, best luck to Torment. Hope he really does do well. Lots of love sending to him. Otherwise, Cole, 3 unbelievably quick bullet points we should cover as general subpar updates. Should we do bongs? I'll do the bongs and you say what they are. Okay, this is the thing they do on BBC News. The news at 10. Bong.
We're regularly hitting 500 Twitch subs.
Bong.
Patrons are popping off. People fucking love it. Fuck you, patrons, you bastards. And do it.
Fucking bong.
YouTube's going well. People are sucking off the Bad Habits video.
Yeah, voice to vidlog. Go watch it. Give that a gander. We're going to do more of them. People want more, we're going to do more. So many more videos. God, we have ideas. And a good editor. Fuck. It's such a nice time right now. So, everybody, check out the rest of our YouTube stuff. Bad Habits is fun. I think it's just hit, I presume, on the trend it was on. I think it's just hit 10,000 views.
Woo!
I'm very happy with. I like that.
Woohoo!
So, claps all around. Everybody get the clap.
That's as many as our first podcast got.
Very true. Oh, everybody, if you're sitting on the bus listening to this podcast right now, I want you just in your lap, just do the tiniest little clap. Just a little, like, I want that, okay? Just tiny little, yeah, exactly. Thank you, everybody, for listening. to the SubPar Poddy C. We've covered week 1 and week 2 of the RLCS, and we'll be back early next week. Probably like release. They're normally like Tuesday, Wednesday releases to discuss exactly what we think of week 3. Will Dignitas stay on top? Are NRG fucking sick still? Will Endpoint twat AS Monaco? We'll give it a gander.
No, they won't. Will Fireburner score a hat trick?
Maybe. All right. See you later, team. Love you all.
Bye.